Hi, my name is Gordy Hogue, and this is Community Connection. Each of us have stories that help us understand each other and help to bring our community closer together. I have been very fortunate to have met many interesting people who've had a positive, profound impact on our community and far beyond. People who've had incredible life experiences and fascinating stories. Community Connections is about these people and about their stories. I'm sure you'll enjoy meeting these amazing people as much as I have. Thank you. Please enjoy. Welcome to Community Connections. My name is Gordy Hogue, and today's guest has been an active contributor to the Arts and Cultural Foundation of our community for over 22 years. He is a past president of the White Rock Players Club. He is an actor, and he has served the club in many, many different roles. The club was founded in 1944, and it brought national fame to our community in 1958 when they won the Dominion Drama Festival. The club is one of the defining pillars and foundations of what our community is, and I'm so delighted to welcome a spokesperson, an actor, a contributor, Fred Patridge. Welcome, Fred.
Thanks, Gordy. Great to be here and be able to talk a little bit about the club, for sure.
All right, you go ahead and do that then.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about me, just a little background. Born in Manitoba. We came out here when I was 10. And
what part of Manitoba are we talking about?
Just north of Winnipeg, Selkirk, actually, just about 20 miles or so north.
My grandparents are from there too, so.
It's a great place to be from. I've got cousins and family back there, but I don't think I could handle the winter. I've gotten soft. BC is, I've become accustomed to the rain. So we moved out, and I think probably the very first time I did theater was back in Selkirk. I played Santa Claus in a school play. I was stuck up the chimney for about 20 minutes until I finally appeared. To great applause, I'm sure. And I did a play in Richmond, so I would have been maybe grade 8, and I got a laugh, and that sort of got me hooked. And then, of course, I did some stuff in high school with Scott Wheeler, who I think a lot of people are familiar with in the area. And Scott was sort of the first person in our group to immigrate out to White Rock. And within a pretty short order, a bunch of us were out there doing plays, and that's where we really started to take it seriously, I guess, and putting on some really interesting shows, and that's where we really got our first taste of doing things in front of a big audience. We'd done a few things at the Surrey Arts Center, but White Rock became pretty quickly our home. And our home base. It's funny that we're still talking about Scott, probably, 14 years, I guess, since his passing. But, he brought out a lot of people, a lot of younger people. I mean, he was continually bringing people up through his school. And so a lot of those kids, if I can call them that, are still around. But we really enjoyed being a part of the community and trying to engage and connect. We've had, I don't know how many people have gone through our club to become professionals, and some who just, they're happy just to be out there in the community, just exercising their craft. And as you know, we've got, I always talk from an actor's perspective. I've directed out there and produced. The odd time they let me paint, but we get a lot of people who they don't want to be out on stage, and they just want to do some carpentry, some painting, the technical stuff. I mean, there's so many different aspects to putting on a show, and we like to make room for everybody, and it gives people a chance to sort of express themselves or feel useful or feel like they're contributing. And certainly those people do contribute a lot to making the shows what they are. The club has, over the years, I think, been a big part of the community. I know you were involved quite a lot in the early, well, I don't know, we started in 1944, so I'm not too sure what I mean by early days anymore.
That's a bit before me.
Yeah, a bit before you. But we've always had, people sort of come and pass through. So we've got, we just had somebody out to look at our furnace on the weekend at the theater. And he said, "Oh yeah, no, I've been out to see shows, and I'm bumping into people all the time that have seen at least one show at our theater." But from our participation in the parades and certainly putting on shows, and the big event over the last few years was when we did the big auditorium, and you were a key player in that. But we had a lot of community involvement. I mean, that was a lot of heavy lifting there between the province and the city and federal and the community groups like Rotary, who all stepped up and helped us refurbish the front end of our theater. I mean, that's the community really stepping up and showing that they want to have an art center, and we were really blessed to have that opportunity to up our game a little bit.
I noticed that at university you took a Bachelor of Science. Were you participating? How does that connect with the Players Club and with acting?
Almost not at all. Yeah, I went to UBC and have a bachelor's degree in chemistry, and that applies a little bit to my work.
Yeah.
But when I was going through university, actually, I did have one chemistry prof say, maybe chemistry isn't your thing. You should maybe you want to pursue acting professionally. And I sometimes wonder if I shouldn't have taken him up on that, but I could see that the prospects for being able to own a home while being an actor were going to be slim to none. So, it's a great calling, and I think we would. Actors would love the opportunity to be able to make a living doing it, but it's a pretty hard slog. So chemistry seemed like a more solid opportunity, and where I ended up was more on the more mechanical side of industry. So I sell industrial pumps, water pumps, that kind of stuff, stuff that the city would buy, that sort of thing. And so my degree comes into play more in my ability to research and analyze and that kind of stuff. So even though my background is chemical, that's more of a mechanical job. So which works for me. I like to see how things work and move.
So from your days as Santa hiding in the chimney, moving forward from those days, and having some more experiences, I guess, later on in school again. Was it Scott Wheeler that connected you with the Players Club, or how did you come to the White Rock?
Yes, it really was. We were sort of moving around from theater to theater, and Scott started doing more stuff out in White Rock. And while I was in university, I wasn't doing as many plays because you do have to sort of devote a lot of time to that. And so I sort of drifted away. I mean, we still saw him socially, but we weren't doing many shows. And then when I graduated and I was able to do theater again, Scott was out there. And so, we sort of jumped into doing, more and more shows as time went on. It's, some people are really good at printing up all the different shows that they've been in and having a big list. There's so many. I know we did, Present Laughter, and in later times we did Maltese Falcon was one. Casablanca we've done a couple of times, probably illegally. I'm not too sure. I'm not. Scott was in charge of the rights, so we'll leave it in his hands. But yeah, Scott really brought me out anyway, and it was such a good place to be. You had some great people that were working behind the stage, behind the screen, and it was yeah, real community, real sense of community out there. And it's, you know, as time has gone on, people have come and go, but that sense of community really is still there. It's and especially, you know, at this time where we are sort of struggling to put plays on, it's good to have sort of dedicated volunteers who are, you know, willing to try and find a way to find a place for them, for themselves, and things for them to do, but also for we want to put stuff up. We want to give people a chance to sort of get away from things and see some sort of theater safely and have a great time. So it's, yeah, it's been great. I mean, I wouldn't I can't imagine being anywhere else over the last 20 or 30. I have to remember what year it is. It's probably getting close to 40 years now since I've been out there.
So the pantomime became sort of the one of the signposts of the Players Club. And I remember going to see the pantomime at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre when it played through there. So how do you make decisions around what the pantomime should be, or how do you, or even any show that you're going to put on? Are there certain things you look at that in terms of the actors and actresses you have, or is it tied to something to do with historically with community, or how do you make those kind of decisions?
Well, when it comes to pantomime, you know, there's a few people that write them over the years. Been different. I've been involved with writing a few as well, and yeah, we have a certain style. You sort of get into the technicalities of the stuff a little bit, but White Rock has developed their own kind of pantomime, and so the people that have grown up with it sort of know what that is. You know, and you know, I have to say, we leave it up to the writers and say, well, you know, it's another year, and you know, it's really the title, you know, the main characters are all just a place for us to hang sort of the satire on. And so yeah, it's a bit of a group effort. We do, you know, we have a play selection committee, but we really go back to the same writers, and the writers, you know, every couple of years they change. And so different people sort of step up. When it comes to plays, what we try to do is sort of walk a line. We want to give people something maybe they're familiar with, but sometimes we like to have a couple of shows that are different, maybe that nobody's done out here, sort of, you know, take a few chances. We figure, you know, White Rock has got a lot of different age ranges. We get, you know, older people, we get younger people coming in. So we like to sort of mix things up a bit. Some of our shows can be a little edgy with language, although I suppose between Netflix and cable, I'm not sure where the line is anymore. But,
Oh, yeah.
but we try to make it entertaining. We like to surprise people, and so we'll try and do stuff that's maybe recently done on Broadway. We'll also do things from back. We'll do some Noel Coward and other things, and Neil Simon, and you know, because the shows are good, and if it hasn't dated, if the you know, you sort of have to look at that in some shows and see if those attitudes maybe don't play that well anymore. People pay a little more attention to how you treat people, and rightly so. So we try to keep an eye on that. But a lot of the better playwrights, even if they're writing in the 30s and the 40s, they, you know, they got it, you know, and I think they treated their characters and people well. So, but yeah, we try to keep an open mind, and so we don't. We tried to do for a little while. We tried to do themes. We thought that would be kind of fun, but it's hard to sort of box things in. So so we just get people to, you know, throw all the scripts in a pile, and what moves you, what grabs you, what makes you laugh out loud, and then that's sort of how we approach it.
So I read somewhere that the pantomime put on by the White Rocks Players Club is the longest running pantomime outside of England. Was I making something up, or is that as you understand it?
No, that's true. We've done a lot of research on that, and there's a club in Ontario that's been doing pantos since the 80s, I think, or 70s. But from what I've seen, we're the longest running panto in North America. We can throw the U.S. in there because they're really late to the Panto game, but that's sort of like the World Championship. But no. As far as we're still waiting for somebody to prove differently. But from all the research that I've done, we had so many expats here back in the early days that it just they just popped up organically. They brought it with them from England or wherever they've been, and we're holding on to that title until somebody knocks it out of our hands. But I would certainly in the Lower Mainland, and I think if you get too far away from here, you really don't have the concentration of the Brits that are necessary to get a Panto off the ground.
So for the roles that you've played, what do you see as the most memorable roles, and what does acting teach you about yourself and about relating with people? And does it give you multiple personalities, or does it get you more grounded in who you are?
Some of them do. The more intense roles, if you really dig into some stuff, the rehearsal period can be pretty intensive, and so Death of a Salesman is one that a lot of actors talk about. It's a pretty intensive role, and especially if you're that age, the age of Willie, and you start to sort of focus on your life. I think for about a month before and a couple of months after, I was sort of things that he said would pop up into when I was speaking to people, with not necessarily a good thing. But that's I think one of the more memorable ones that I've done. There's been a couple of comedies where I've enjoyed doing that, and the role in Casablanca, I played Captain Renault, and it's an iconic part, and I just enjoyed sort of following in Claude Rains' footsteps with that one, and just trying not to do an impression. But you can get pretty intense on some of this stuff, but Death of a Salesman is the one where I probably had the most trouble sort of disconnecting, and I think that's just a tribute to the writing. It's just hard to beat that, but it does tend to drag you into it a little bit. So, but the other ones you can sort of step off and then flip back to yourself, and then turn the switch and come back on again. It's just I think a tribute to the role it does sort of the one rule, sort of the cardinal rule of acting, especially in theater, but I think it also applies to film and TV, is you listen to the other actor, and that's a good rule in life as well. Listen to the other person. I'm probably still learning that, but
we all are. Yeah. I think I read somewhere that you were involved in going around to a number of communities in the area, and the play that you're putting on is You Will Remember Us, was it, or You Will Remember Me?
Oh, that's right. Yes, we did.
Dementia and educative process around that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it was a remarkable part. It's You Will Remember Me, and I played a professor that had dementia. They didn't get into the clinical side of it too much, and what I liked about that character was he was dealing with it, and everybody's experience of this is going to be different. So, and this is the way this character was written, but he sort of understood where he was going. He didn't want to be pitied, and he sort of had an acceptance of what he was going through. He fought it, but he accepted the results. He accepted what was happening to him, and was determined to make the best of it, to just make his life work for as long as he could. And I think that's sort of the best you can hope for. The disease progresses differently for everybody, and they didn't get into exactly whether he had Alzheimer's or what was the cause and all that. But for him, it was possible for him to sort of hang on to certain things and the certain delusions that made him happy. And in the end, the people around him were willing to entertain um, those sort of thoughts because it made him happy. And he, even as he was experiencing them, he would sort of knew, well, you're not really who I think you are, but I'm not sure who you are, and we'll just go with it. And so that, yeah, it was a very moving part. Um, and it's a, if that's a path you have to go down, I think it's a good way to deal with that, and to try and come to a level of acceptance. At the same time, try to obviously hold on as long as you can, but realize that this is how your life is going to be.
Having spent a lot of time with the theater and with actors, is there a particular profile or a personality that is attracted to acting that allows them to look at and explore other parts of themselves, or is it just all over the map and different people find different ways, or is there any sort of commonality that you think strikes into that?
Um, there's some shy actors out there, and I probably fit into that at some point. I've been fighting against it for a long time, so I'm getting better. But you get the bigger than life people that come in and they, throw open their arms, and they'll they just command a room. But you can find other people who are really quite quiet, and then this is the way for them to express themselves. And so in their normal life, they can be quite quiet and shy, but given a costume and a character, it allows them to be free and to express themselves more. So you never know. And I've been involved with the casting process. I haven't directed yet, but I've been involved as a producer and casting. And you never know when they step up onto the stage what you're going to get. And more often than not, you're going to be surprised. Anybody can have it in them if that's something they want to do, I think.
Is it your experience that people in rehearsals are somehow different when they step onto the stage to perform, or is there a difference, or there's some consistency there?
Well, in the rehearsals, you're sort of uh, you're sort of half and half, because you're a lot of stopping and stopping and starting, and so you'll be doing your thing in character, and then suddenly it's like, I don't think I did that right. So I think we should do that again. And so you sort of, there's this flux back and forth between you and the character. When you're doing the rehearsals, the director will, half the time they'll refer to you by your character and half the time by your name, so it can be a little bit confusing.
So I'd like to be able to have in my life the ability, as most people would, I think, to be able to rehearse what we start to live rather than living it while we're rehearsing it, and not being able to separate that. So that's
yeah. I'd like more rehearsal as well.
So with the pandemic facing us now, what does that mean for the Players Club, and for if it goes on for some people projecting maybe for a couple of years, what does that mean for the Players Club?
Well, it's tough. I mean, we're lucky in that we own the property we're on, but it's hard. I mean, we were fortunate that we had some money set aside for some capital projects, and so we're sort of finishing some stuff off that we already paid for. So we've been working on, just finished our sound upgrade, but it's so we can hang on for a while, sort of using that money that we were going to spend on equipment to just sort of keep the lights on. And we do have a person in the box office part-time, but it's tough. We put on a show, we would make, maybe $10,000 if it was a good show, and that would keep us going for a couple of months. And pantomime would keep us going for about 6 months. And so with all the shows we were making with maybe a 50 or 60% house, it's enough to, keep the lights on, pay employee, money to build a show, and maybe fix a roof or or replace a toilet or something. So this is a big change, and so we can go till next year sometime, sort of as is, but at a certain point we would probably have to just to keep the overhead down, just to shut it up tight, and I really don't want to do that. So right now we can, with the 50-seat house, we can make a few $100s where we would before make a few $1,000s. So at least we're bringing some money in. And so that every time we do that, it sort of buys us another few weeks, a few months at the end of it. So we're hopeful to put on it. We are planning on putting on a pantomime. It'll be a staged reading, a smaller cast, and so they'll be spaced out on the stage. And again, a 50-seat house. And so we've got 200-seat auditorium, 218. And so there's a lot of room for people to space out. And so that will, again, it'll buy us a couple of months. And so I think we can hang in there for a while. But it's hard. It's hard for everybody. I mean, we're no different than a lot of businesses. And so, we're not special in that way. We're all having a hard time surviving under the current circumstances. I really don't know how some of restaurants and other businesses are even gonna hang in there if this goes on for 2 years. I think it's going to be a major change for everybody. So I mean, yes, I feel bad for ourselves, but I can't imagine for other businesses how they're going to make a go if this happens. It goes on much longer.
So the Players Club is just, as I said earlier, a pillar of the community that people who've been here identify with it. The pantomime is a tradition in most families that have been here. Do you see any evolution or any change, or are you pretty satisfied with the way the Players Club is functioning now and moving ahead, or is there a different vision for the future, or a different redefining? Or one of the things I was wondering about, sorry to interrupt there, but with the pandemic, is there an ability to go out to different organizations and do small performances and introducing more people to the club in different fashions?
It's difficult now. I don't think people want us to come in, but we were looking at, we're working with Park Oceana, the new facility not too far from our door. And our plan had been to do either maybe rehearsals there that people could watch and sort of get them more involved, or maybe some more of the staged readings, because they've got some nice spaces over there. And as we've been working on our tech booth, trying to get that better, we were hoping to use that as outreach to some of the high schools. There's a lot of people that want to get into the performing arts on the technical side, and so we've been making an effort to make sure our booth equipment is state of the art, so that it's something that they can come and practice on, and then maybe take that on as a career. So use sort of the Players Club as a bit of a stepping stone that way. But yeah, we've been trying to find ways to reach out, but it's at this point with the restrictions on there, I'm not sure who would let even 2 actors into a building. I've talked to some of the care homes around, and they're interested, but not now. So
is this I imagine this impact is happening with clubs all across the province and all across the country. Are there any, and I guess everybody's in the same kind of position, is there anything out there that you've looked at, or do you have a federation or talking to other clubs in any way of looking at and seeing how you can support each other?
There's a couple of them that are going through some big changes. Surrey Little Theatre is going through some big changes. It seems likely they might lose their facility, and so I think they're going to try partnering with another club. We've all been sort of, I think we're all still in a bit of shell shock, and everybody's situation is a bit unique. So I haven't talked to the guys at Langley, and I probably should, just to see what their plans are. They haven't put anything on. Metro Theatre has put on a couple of shows. And so they are determined to try and put on full productions with the 50-seat house. And so everybody's got a different approach. The problem with some of those smaller facilities is even with their houses are so small, they can't even have 50. So they may only be able to allow 10 or 15 just for social distancing. So it becomes a real issue for those guys. And it's tough. We have sort of a loose coalition, but I've suggested that we have sort of get all the presidents together and have a bit of a conference, and this might be a good time to do that, just to see how we can all try and survive this, because it's community theater has never suffered from overfunding, and that's fine. Everybody makes do, and so we've managed. You see it everywhere. Every community's got their groups, but this can really knock the stuffing out of a group that's been sort of leading a subsistence lifestyle. But then to have all their funding removed for a year or more, it can really knock their socks off, and it's a tough go. It'll be hard for a lot of community groups, and not just us, but certainly from our perspective, it'll be a tough one. Once the things have turned around, we can recover quickly. But until that time, we sort of rely on donations, and when we do have the events, that people are able to come and see what we're doing, and we'll if we have to, we'll do bake sales. Although I don't know that you can do bake sales either, so I'm not sure what.
No, there are lots of challenges, but certainly the White Rock Players Club is an institution in this community, and as we're growing dramatically, and the more people coming to the community, and looks like a large population and are going to be very within walking distance of the theater. And I hope that they will be able to encourage all of those people to get out and celebrate the Players Club and the contributions you make to our community. And it is such an integral and important part of our history, of our present day, and reaching out. That thank you so much, Fred, for the work that you're doing, and all of the members of the Players Club. And I guess if anybody watching this was interested, they could certainly get engaged and get involved.
Yeah, there's still things going on, so they can contact us through the website. We're really happy to see we have been getting some new volunteers. We different generations, some younger people, some older people. But yeah, we want to see people from all demographics, coming out and joining us and helping us out, being part of our community. And we really do look forward to seeing new volunteers show up, and it's really great. It makes us feel good inside to have new people, because that means that our legacy will be carried on, and hopefully they find a place where they feel they can belong.
Sounds like a great message to stand with. Thank you so very much for your time, and for so well laying out the role of the White Rock Players Club and of theater, and as an instrumental part of community and an instrumental part of the social well-being of a community. Thank you so very much. Thank you for joining us today on Community Connections. Please tune in to our next show as more amazing people share their wonderful stories. If you haven't already, please click on the red subscribe button below, right down there, and view our updates. Feel free to leave any thoughts or comments that you may have. We're always trying to do a better job of connecting this wonderful community. Thanks again for joining, and until next time, keep connecting. Thank you.